So, in a world that's just constantly changing, how does a leader do more than just survive that change? How do they actually master it? We're talking across entire continents, across totally different industries. Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. We're going to dive into the career of Ashish Kumar Chadha and see how he pulls it off, how he builds these massive transformations by mixing incredible tech with a really human-focused approach.
You know, this quote right here, it's the perfect place to start. It really nails the three big things he's always balancing. First, you've got that strategic foresight, always looking at the big picture, what's coming next. Then, there's the operational rigor, making sure things actually get done and done right. And finally, that human-centered execution. It's all about the people. So keep those three things in your head, because you're going to see them pop up again and again.
And look, this isn't something he just started doing. We're talking about a career built on over 23 years of experience. Think about that for a second. That's more than 2 decades of dealing with some of the trickiest global challenges you can imagine. It just gives you an idea of the kind of deep expertise we're about to get into.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the kind of impact he has, we've got to look at the different hats he wears. And it's not just one job title, not by a long shot. It's way more complex than that. So let's break down what that really means.
What's really cool here is how these 4 roles aren't separate things. They all feed into each other. It's like a puzzle. You've got the strategic portfolio leader. He's the one designing these huge tech projects. But you can't just build that in a bubble. To do it worldwide, you have to be a global delivery expert. And you know what? No tech project, I mean zero, is going to work if people don't use it. That's where being a change management champion comes in, getting everyone on board. And the glue holding it all together is deep knowledge as a financial services strategist. See how that works? Each piece makes the others stronger.
All right, so we've got a good idea of who he is. Now let's talk about where. Where does all this happen? And when we say global, I mean the scale is, well, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, this really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Global is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but this is what it actually looks like. We are talking about leading projects on 6 different continents. I mean, think about that. Every single one has its own culture, its own rules, its own way of doing business. The level of adaptability you need for that is just off the charts.
And here's the real kicker. It's not like he's doing all this global work in just one little niche. Nope. On one hand, you've got the super complex, buttoned-up world of banking and insurance. And then, on the other hand, he's leading these huge transformations for major manufacturing and telecom companies. To be a master in such different worlds, that shows a kind of strategic adaptability that's, well, it's pretty rare.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are the actual systems and platforms we're talking about here? Let's dive into the tech side of things, the architecture he actually builds. So, let's start with HR tech. He's got some serious expertise in platforms like Oracle Taleo. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, he's managed global support for a system with over 120,000 users. That's literally the population of a small city, all relying on a system that he was helping to run. Just wrap your head around that for a minute.
And it's not just Oracle. His expertise goes way beyond that. He's also been at the helm of huge transformations using SAP Qualtrics and Salesforce, their service and data clouds. And let's be clear, these aren't just simple apps you download. They're these massive, complex ecosystems that have to be woven perfectly into the fabric of a business. He just makes that complexity look easy.
So, the big question is, how do you actually pull off one of these massive transitions? Well, you can see his process right here. It really boils down to 4 key steps. It all starts with stakeholder alignment. I mean, if everyone isn't on the same page, you're going nowhere, right? Then comes Agile and DevOps. That's just the modern way to build and ship software fast and reliably. Step 3 is the big one, the legacy to cloud migration. You're moving off those old, clunky systems and into the cloud. And finally, and this is so important, digital governance, making sure everything is compliant with all the rules, like GDPR. It's the whole package.
Okay, now we're going to make a really important shift here. We've talked a lot about systems, platforms, technology, but you know what? None of that matters without people. So let's flip the script and look at the human side of his leadership, because it is every bit as important as the tech.
He's known for creating what are called systems of care. So what on earth is that? Well, think of it like this. Anyone can build a new HR system just to make things more efficient. But a system of care goes a step further. You design that same system to also make employees feel better, to be more engaged. It's a fundamental shift. Technology is there to serve people, not the other way around.
In this quote, it just ties everything together so perfectly. The precision? That's all that tech stuff we just talked about, mastering the systems, the processes.
But that's balanced with the empathy, the part that you need to actually lead people through a big change. And that combination right there is what creates an impact that actually lasts.
So you might be wondering, where does all this come from? What's the foundation for all this expertise? Well, let's peel back the curtain and look at the incredible credentials and academic background that have really fueled his entire career.
I mean, just look at this. The sheer range of his certifications is just wow. He's got the top-tier credentials in literally every key area. For project management, he's got the top 2 in the world. For Agile, he's a certified Scrum Master. For process excellence, a Six Sigma Master Black Belt. That's the highest you can go. And then you pile on the tech certs from Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, plus deep financial credentials. This is not just a random list, folks. This is a pattern. It shows a relentless drive to learn and to master his craft.
And his academic side is just as impressive. We're talking multiple master's degrees. Of course, there's an MBA for the business strategy side of things, but here's what I find really fascinating. He also has a master's in psychology. And that just clicks, doesn't it? It completely explains where that human-centered approach comes from. This isn't about collecting diplomas. It's about building a mind that can connect dots across totally different fields.
And one last thing. His influence doesn't just stop with his own projects. He's actually helping to shape the entire industry. He serves as an assessor for these major HR Excellence Awards. What does that tell you? It means he's not just playing the game. He's one of the people helping to define the rules of what excellence even looks like.
So that leaves us with this one big question, and it really gets to the heart of everything we've talked about. In this world that is just obsessed with tech and scale and efficiency, how do we build systems that are not just smart, but also kind, not just efficient, but also empathetic? Finding that balance, that's probably the biggest challenge for any leader today. And it's a challenge that Ashish Kumar Chadha has spent his entire career mastering.